my wife, my wife tells me I'm gonna go have some morning, brunch with some friends. I said, cool, enjoy. Takes my daughter. And so she leaves, and I'm just there, of course, sick mind. Yes, she's gone. Go in the garage, go do my deal. She gets back home with the most sobering thing I've ever heard. First of all, she walks in with no daughter. What this was actually an intervention for me to her. So she comes home without my daughter, and my mother-in-law is driving. And she comes in, and the shit hurts to say, but she comes in crying. And she's like, jig is up. It's going to be divorce or rehab. Mind you, if there's anything good in my life that I think I've done, it's my wife and my daughters. So I just, of course, my first defense is, no, what are you talking about? And then she gives me all the examples of the people who was picking it up for me, the people that lent me money, the people I've mentioned to her, did it around. And I couldn't back out of that. That was all truth. And so I said, okay, yeah, you're right. I have been doing it. And she's heartbroken. And she's like, well, I'm not going to be around for a while. I'm going to protect our daughter, and I got to protect myself. But you have a choice. It's going to be we're divorcing or you're going to rehab. And I didn't know where to start. So my next reaction was I got up out the couch. I went straight to the backyard. And I cried. I was bawling. And I told her, she walked out there, she's like, "Are you okay?" And I said, I'm so glad I got caught.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Into Action podcast brought to you by Touchstone. My name is Louis Edwards. I'm client advocate here, and I'll be covering for Nolan today. Today on our podcast, we have Ralph Ortega.
How you doing?
He is a health coach. That's and group facilitator here at Touchstone.
That's correct.
And one of my friends.
That's correct also.
And co-workers. How you doing today, Ralph?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me, brother. I'm doing really well today. Thank you.
If you haven't heard it today, Ralph, sobriety looks good on you.
Appreciate that, brother. Thank you.
Not as good as it looks on me, but you're getting there. Keep it up, all right? Ralph, take a little bit of time to introduce yourself to our listeners and tell us a little bit about your background and what led you to Touchstone.
For sure. So my name is Ralph Ortega. Here I'm a health coach at Touchstone. Man, it's a long story, but this long story actually has saved my life. Leading up to this point, grew up in Clovis, California. My parents came over from Mexico at a young age, provided life for themselves and us as kids. We got two siblings, an older sister, younger sister. Dad owns a mechanic shop. Mom used to help around the business. They allowed me to do what I love and play sports. Clovis Schools, which, Clovis Schools was serious on Clovis sports, so it was really, really good. And also with the grades, big academics. So I did that. Went to school, Clovis East, graduated there. Went to Fresno City College for a little bit, played some football there also. Then I had my bout with some bad grades, and I was ineligible. So, at that time I wasn't very mature in my mind, so I just said, screw it, I'm gonna leave school, and I dropped out. And unfortunately, I found the street life after that, because it was, if I'm not getting good grades, I gotta make some money. And along with that was, I'd say, a weary and scary road traveled. But I do believe it's by the grace of God where I'm at today. Even then, walking with me through the trials and tribulations that I could have been in. Sometimes I shouldn't have been here right now. Mm-hmm. But I am here today. But found that lifestyle, just kind of indulged in it. Didn't know stop in it, and I had nobody really hold me accountable to my actions, and so I ran off with it, and did that for a while. I had opportunity to play. I found a semi-adult football league here in Fresno, California. His name was Clovis Wolves at first, and then went on to the Crusaders. After my third or fourth year playing semi-pro, I got noticed by some people in Germany. So I had the opportunity to go play professional. I had the opportunity to play professional football in Germany.
That's awesome, man.
Which was an amazing opportunity. And in that meantime, I had my girlfriend, and I had also another situation, but I had two daughters on the way. And I'm grateful for that time, because I feel like, and everything I say and do, I got to give it to God, because I'm not here today or what I'm doing, whatever, however, everything perspired today wouldn't have been possible without God. So I had $2 on the way, but, allowed it where I got to get away for a little bit and really look at my life and what was I going to do. So playing football, of course, was amazing. That was, being overseas, doing what you love, and also showing other people the sport that we have here. I got to travel, Amsterdam, Italy in that time, met amazing people, great relationships out there, and I still have them. They always tell me, oh, you got to pay for his airfare. We got you, and I appreciate that. I'm grateful for that.
Ralphie, you mentioned your daughters. Every time I see you, you got your girls with you.
That's right.
They're here now, right just outside of camera. It's like,
they are.
I love it. It's so inspirational. Thank you, brother. And to see you with every time I see you, you have one or both of your daughters with you, and I admire that. Please continue. I'm sorry for interrupting.
My man, you got me teary-eyed. That's my heartstrings, man. My wife and my daughters are if I did anything right in this life, and if I could see God in real life action, it's that through them, and they're the reason why I do what I do today. They're my why. But yeah, my daughters are my everything, and I'm grateful to take them everywhere. And I try to, I don't want to hide them from nothing. I don't want them to hide it from the world. The world's out there. It's real. Mm-hmm. And if anybody's going to teach them about something, if it's going to be anybody, I want it to be me and my wife. Mm-hmm. And I'm grateful for the opportunity I could. But yeah, I have my girls with me. They're here right now. My number one fans. But yeah, so did the Germany thing, came back. Hey, girls. Played football there, came back, and lo and behold, my daughters were on their way. They're 2 weeks apart. Did that, had to, make a serious decision on what I was going to do with life. And I made my girlfriend, my wife at that time, her name's Courtney, and that woman has the Spirit of God for sure. I mean, her grace for me and the patience with me is amazing. And she showed me that day in, day out. So I did that. And in this meantime, during playing these sports, I got to tell you, it's part of the lifestyle, partying and drugs. Mm-hmm. If it's not from injuries and you're taking the drugs, or if it's just parties, it's just part of the lifestyle. And I didn't know there was an invisible line to be crossed. I seen the people in the streets, and I seen those that were lost in it, but I thought that was them, weak-minded, right? Weak-minded. I'd never be like that. And I never knew how far it could take me, and it did take me somewhere where I crossed that invisible line. Mm-hmm. With my wife, she put up with a lot of stuff with me, and I'm grateful for her patience with me, like I said earlier, but she never really got upset with me the way I was doing things, because I was able to somewhat manage my life. I had a job, security, nothing major, security here and there, just jobs, stuff like that. And she, innocent. She's innocent. She didn't know about this lifestyle that I was living. She allowed it. She was a normie, what we call normie. She's a normie, and she seen that I was just doing what I do and handle it at the time. And I would say, I did that lifestyle for a while. Played football. I just stopped playing football. Maybe last year I retired. So it's pretty cool. I did get 8 championship rings within this league. I got to retire with a healthy body, no broken bones, thank God. Awesome. By the grace of God again. It was hard to stop because it's identity, right? Playing sports, that's my identity, so I am a football player. So after that stop, what am I going to do now? And in between all this time, I did get to find what I love to do is training. I love training. Biggest reason is I love seeing somebody uncover something they never thought they could do. Like, that's amazing to me. Like that moment, mm-hmm. That's everything to me, to give to people that have the opportunity to be that. Because I had coaches in my life. It really was one coach that believed in me. And I wasn't always the most talented dude going on the field, but I believed in hard work. Work hard. It's going to show. And I had one person believe in me and gave me the opportunity to do that. And I believe if it's one person, I could get them to the next level, and that's what it is. And I tried that to others. So I found the career of training, of course. I worked at 2 gyms. I loved them. Great gyms. It was a good time. I learned a lot from these people, and I'm grateful for that.
And this was after the football?
Yes, it's after football. Mm-hmm. After football. There might have been like a year or two I was still training and playing football. Mm-hmm. It was juggling match. And at that time, my daughters were getting older, and I had to become more responsible on whose time is more important. At this point, I'm already pretty selfish. And I know when I was playing football, I was taking time away from them, being part of their lives and part of their softball that they wanted to do. And that's why I had to stop also, but I'm grateful I did, because I got to give back to my daughters in that aspect. But up to that point, stopping to play football was pretty tough. So I stopped playing ball. I had I had a major crisis incident in my life. A close brother, I call him a brother, passed away. At the age of 18, I moved into his house. I really loved their home. They had a lot of love in that home. Every time somebody showed up or left, it was, I love you, kiss, and goodbye. And I didn't grow up in that. Nothing against my own home, but it was just more, you go do your thing, you come back home, and it is what it is. Mm-hmm. And this home was a lot of love, and I loved it. So I moved there. I found the love, lived with the family, with my friend, really close to him. And, I got to say I have 4 or 5 people I've lost their lives to this disease, suicide and overdose. And it's a hard thing to deal with. And as a human, I realized this, I'm never really ready for that. And I never was, but I never gave myself the proper tools to grieve. So what I had to do was just deal with it, right? Deal with it. Mm-hmm. And so I did what I did, what I knew to do, what I know to do, numb out.
Fentanyl is making, it very dangerous to use. They put it in everything now. Yeah. They put it in everything now, and we're losing people at alarming numbers.
Yeah. So and that's tough too. Being in this field, I'm learning that. Great relationships with these people, and this is happening. I would be all emotional, missing my brothers. They ain't around no more. I'm literally the last of the brothers, last of the Mohicans. There ain't no more around in my group. And what I did was I would just numb out. I would continually smoke weed. Smoking weed was like my thing, right? Like I'm a pothead. I'm a Bob Marley type dude. I'm a hippie. And then I would drink. That was, of course, I started drinking at 12 years old. I'm talking about drinking at 12 where I had alcohol poisoning. I don't know how many people, they might have their first drink at 12. I went straight to alcohol poisoning. Maybe I should have had a hint I was alcoholic. I didn't. I remember that time I did. Parents threw me in the shower. I woke up the next day and my dad was just like, oh, you want to drink like a grown man? You got to go to work the next day like a grown man. So Ralph justified it. If I can handle it, I'm doing this. Mind you, at 12 years old. So, as you get older, I got this. But that wasn't the answer. I realize now, because even when it comes to my daughters, if this was to come about, we're talking about it, we're having a good conversation about it. It's not going to brush it off because it's something serious. I know how serious this could be. Mm-hmm. Did that that age, 12 years old, and went on with it. But drinking, smoking weed was a thing, and then so 7/27/21 is my sober sobriety date. 3 years prior to that, when I started really using cocaine. What led to the cocaine use was selling it. When I had it, it was almost like in that lifestyle, if you got it, you the dude. So you get it for free. And so I indulged lightly. And eventually it went to this point where my heart was broken. I didn't know what to do. I knew this stuff worked for me and made me feel better. Boom. Ended up being, so cocaine, drinking and smoking weed was my thing. I did that for 3 years. For the first 2 years of that stint, I was able to hide it. Nobody knew. And then it came down to, in 2021, it got real. I was using people left and right, money-wise, telling them to, as bad as this, being on vacation and people coming up late, later because they had their own responsibilities they had to do, and be like, hey, I left some shoes at the house, can you pick them up on the way there? And I had my dealers drop off some shit in there, right? Some stuff in there, and they had to drive it. The people, my loved ones, are putting them at risk for my selfishness. It don't get no sicker than that.
I did it too, Rob. Everything that you just said resonated with me. Yeah. The cocaine use, the hiding it, and everything, it resonated.
Right. And I was that guy. I was isolated, right? So I didn't want nobody to know. And I used them, and I would do that. And it was bad, but I couldn't see the sickness of it yet. And I was just still doing it, like getting my thing. And then I even would justify it. When people would hang out with me, to come over and hang out with me, I'm like, well, everybody has their drink at night, a beer, a cigar. This is my thing, and I'll just be on it. But towards that third year, it got really bad. Powerlessness and unmanageability, step one. I realized that was real. I lost 2 jobs. One of them was a dream job. I lost countless relationships because my brain was, now I know how this disease actually takes effect on your brain too. But I was so lost in paranoia, making up things about my wife, my friends. It got sick. It got really sick. And I'll give you an instance of this. This is now, I'm bringing you guys up to 2021 in about June, April, May, June timeline. We usually do family vacations in Lake Tahoe. And this is the peak of my use. I'm about 150 pounds. And if anybody knows me, they're almost trying to bulk up. But, Ralph gonna lie. So Ralph, you looking lean. Yeah, I'm trying to get toned up. If you knew me, that's a lie. And my poor wife, she wouldn't even believe me. Like, okay, he's changing a little bit body-wise. We're in Lake Tahoe, and I brought all my supplies, my drugs and drinking and all that stuff. And we're out there partying up, trying to have a good time. Of course, I'm ruining days on days. I am ruining days because I'm making up arguments with my wife and people. And there was a night when I had a fight with my wife this is crazy, but they were playing a family game. We're playing a family game. And I got upset about something, started a fight with her. And I remember them carrying on and me punching a wall, leaving all mad, throwing a tantrum, really, when I look at it, back at it. But and I going out to the Lake Tahoe lakefront, and I just sit there, and it's about 9, 10 o'clock at night. I have my supply, my smoke, and all that, and I'm just sitting out there. And in this point in my life, I know I put myself there, but I felt so alone. I felt so alone, and like nobody cared. And I'd never been there before, but it hurt. It really hurt. So when I'm on that lakefront, I remember just looking to see if somebody could see me, and just to see if somebody's looking for me. Like, if somebody cared for Ralph, they're gonna come look. I look at it now as the same person, my wife being in the sane mind, telling herself, he's gonna come back. Me, I'm not. I'm thinking like they don't care. I'm automatically thinking they don't care. And then I remember like sitting there and running out my products, whatever, my cocaine, drink, my alcohol, my weed, all ran out, and I fell asleep out there. And woke up probably about 1 a.m, and I see a light, and I like kind of hid because I wasn't sure if it was security, police, and I know my family didn't have a flashlight. And then I keep looking, and they wandered off. I was like, well, that's damn, for sure it's not my family, because they would have kept coming down the beach line. And I fall back asleep. And then this next instance, it's crazy how God works. I wake up, I'm asleep, and I hear feet wrestling and like hard breathing around me. And automatically I pop up in this hood mind. What's up, ninja? Like, what's up? We gonna go at it? And it was 3 coyotes run off. So they're smelling me as I'm sleeping on the ground. Somebody told me later on, it's freezing out there at night. You could have had hypothermia. So what I took that was these animals woke me up to get me out of that position. And I was blind to it. I didn't see God all over it yet. It was just like, this is what happened. When I did get up that last one, about 3, 4 in the morning, I get up and I'm all mad, took off my shoes, and I'm running back to the place because I know this cat was going to try to get me. And I go to the room and everybody's sound asleep. I'm mad. I'm hurt. I'm mad. I'm angry. I have so many emotions built up. I didn't know what to do because everybody's asleep and they're sound asleep. So I'm throwing my tantrum. I roll up my blunt, and I go in the restroom and I have my beers and I fill up the bathtub. And I put the beers in there. I was laying in there. I have this knife. Sorry. I have my knife with me, this little knife, and at this point I'm through with it. I'm through with this lifestyle. I'm through with it. I remember leading up to this, I was in my garage on this table, writing letters to God. God help me, I can't stop with my cocaine lines, my alcohol, and my weed. Alone, like 3 in the garage, saying, God help me. And because I was so into instant gratification, I didn't feel the presence. Tears in my eyes, I hit the lines. I just went in deep, hit the lines, right? Kept doing it. I kept these letters. I have these letters still to this day, and it's scribbled out, God help me. But anyways, fast forward. I'm in this bathtub, and I'm tired of it already. I'm tired of living this life. I lost 2 jobs. I'm losing relationships. My thought is I'd be better off dead. I'd be better off dead because I'm hurting people. I'm the hurter. I was never the hurtee. And I hate saying that. It hurts. And I've been working through it through my steps, but I was always the person hurting people. I was never the one getting hurt. And so I'm like, I'll be better off. And I'm playing with this knife on my wrist, and I cut myself a few times, nothing deep, just a little to see what it's gonna be like. And mind you, at this point, the water's full, empty beer cans are floating. And I was hand up, everything. And I'm about to just whack at it. And I had the strength for it. And literally, I don't know what it was that physically stopped me, but the instant thought of my 2 daughters. Walking in the next morning and seeing me. Imagine if my daughters walking in and seeing me. It's a nightmare. It's a horror movie. And what I was really trying to do, my intent was trying to hurt my wife. I make her feel bad about it. That was how sick I was. I was so sick, I wanted to hurt her and feel the pain. And so I didn't do it. I aborted. I was pissed on myself because I can't follow through with this. I get out the shower, and I just put some clothes on, and I'm just on the bed, have this, and it's sick mind. Again, I'm smoking my blunt, this room with family in it, and I don't care. I'm just on this tantrum, and I guess I dozed out. Wake up the next day, and my world was a little different that next day. It wasn't like before. Just everything just seemed different. People's voices, the scenery. My mind was taking it different, and I don't know what it was, but it was just everything was different. But I know I caused that night was like a freaking volcano. I caused a lot of torture or harm to people, and it sucked. And I didn't get to enjoy the rest of the time, and I did ruin the trip for the family because, if people know Ralph, the real Ralph before all this, and that I'm the fun. I lifted people. I'm the fun dude. But I'm also, I believe this. Everybody has a power and influence. It just depends on how we want to use that influence. And at that time, I used it for bad reasons, and people would, look up to me, and I was just bringing them all down. So I didn't enjoy the rest of the trip. We all went back home. Heard it from my wife. I ruined the trip. Of course, more stuff that I did. And she's right. She's absolutely right. I ruined that trip. I ruined it all. Our relationship was already on the rocks. We're already going through it, fighting every night, not even sleeping together sometimes. I was barking orders at my daughters, and because I lived the lifestyle of, I didn't grow up in a peaceful environment. It was kind of chaos, a little toxic, and there was a lot of arguing. So my first natural instinct is just yell to get the point across. And my yell isn't just a man's yell. It's, mind you, I don't play football for many years. It's that I'm taking command. I'm telling you what to do, and this is what it is. It's like a F you, listen to me, and it's scary. And I would yell at my daughters with that tone, and it caused some, PTSD with them. They're traumatized for it. They're traumatized from that me being, yelling at them. So when we get back, and this is when it got real. I would say 3 weeks later after that, going into July, the beginning of July, my wife tells me I'm gonna go have some morning, brunch with some friends. I said, cool, enjoy. Takes my daughter, and so she leaves, and I'm just there. Of course, sick mind. Yes, she's gone. I'm going to the garage, go do my deal. She gets back home with the most sobering thing ever I've ever heard. First of all, she walks in with no daughter.
Well, for clarity, after the incident at Lake Tahoe, did you not use for 3 weeks? Had you been sober up until this time till your wife left?
No, I didn't stop my using.
Okay.
Because, again, that invisible line, I was at the point where it wasn't a want, it was a need. I needed this cocaine just to maintain my daily lifestyle. Mm-hmm. I couldn't wake up without a headache. I was running through big bottle ibuprofens daily because my head just hurt every day. Mm-hmm. So I needed it. There was no stopping. Probably the only time was because I ran out there in Tahoe on the drive home, 7 hours. As soon as I got back on it.
Okay.
So back on it, through it. And then, but I would tell my wife, because she was like, you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm slowing down on smoking weed and drinking. I'm slowing down on that stuff. I didn't point that to that. Mm-hmm. So my wife just gets in. So yeah, it brings back to that point. My wife gets invited to her friends. What this was it was actually an intervention for me to her. So she comes home without my daughter, and my mother-in-law is driving. And she comes in, and the shit hurts. Hey, but she comes in crying. And she's just like, jig is up. It's going to be divorce or rehab. Mind you, if there's anything good in my life that I think I've done, it's my wife and my daughters. So I just, of course, my first defense is, no, what are you talking about? And then she gives me all the examples of the people who was picking it up for me, the people that lent me money, the people I've mentioned to her, did it around. And I couldn't back out of that. That was all truth. And so I said, okay, yeah, you're right. I have been doing it. And she's heartbroken. And she's like, well, I'm not going to be around for a while. I want to protect our daughter, and I got to protect myself. But you have a choice. It's going to be we're divorcing or you're going to rehab. And I didn't know where to start. So my next reaction was I got up out the couch. I went straight to the backyard. And I cried. I was bawling. And I told her, she walked out there, she's like, "Were you okay?" And I said, I'm so glad I got caught. was so glad I got caught. Because I was not man enough to say anything about it. But I was glad I got caught. What do we got to do? She said she's going to start searching. You know, bless my wife's heart. She said because she has good insurance. She was looking for rehabs for me. And we found an amazing place in San Diego, Casa Palmera. Changed my life. So in this instance, what seemed like the worst thing that could have happened to me was a blessing from God. That rock bottom just bounced me back up. And if anything, at that rock bottom, I know it's my God is at that rock bottom where I needed to be. Mm-hmm. We found Casa Palmera. You know, I had to call them the next few days to give them some information on myself. And when I'm hearing myself tell them these things, like the next day I call them and talk to them. They're like, so how much have you slept? 5 hours and 6 days. They're like, you okay? You need help? I'm like, yeah, I know. But they're like, you need to go to the doctor soon? I'm like, I'll be okay. And so they said, we're going to get a bed open for you. And as soon as it's here, you can arrive. And so they hit me up about 4 days later. A bed's ready. And you know, my disease and some rough ego was like, nah, you ain't done yet. And so I was like, well, I'm going to get some things in order. I'll let you know. You know, I'm going to manage my life before I do that. I'm going to clean up some things and I'll be over there. Mm-hmm. Push it off. And in this time, in this middle time, I don't talk about this much. My oldest daughter, Leilani, was going through, we thought she had a heart murmur or something. And it's crazy, man, because if I'm being real, and I think what it was is a broken heart.
That makes sense to see you two together the most.
Right.
And yeah.
I think it was really a broken heart. You know, I hear these stories where couples 89 years old, and one passed away, the next one.
Less than a year later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's what happens, right? Mm-hmm. And that's what we were going through in that time. So my wife wasn't pushing me to go to rehab as much because she wanted me to be around for my daughter. But the time came, you know, it was 3 weeks into it because my date is 7/27/21. So it's probably the second, almost third week. They got a bed for me. And so my plan was like, hey, I don't want my family to have to go through the torture of driving all the way to San Diego, because it's in San Diego. It was in Del Mar, San Diego. Mm-hmm. Of driving through there to know they're going to drop their father and husband off for a rehab center. That's too many torture. I've done enough pain. I've caused enough pain. And so instead we got a flight. So they took me to the airport instead. They dropped me off at the airport early in the morning. It's about 6, 7 a.m. Funny story, man, because we get there and I miss my flight, of course, right? I miss my flight. So I go back home. My wife's upset 'cause she had to go to work, took my daughter to my mother-in-law. I had to get a ride back from Uber to go back home. Well, of course, when I went back home, I went one more time, you know. Thank God it wasn't my last time. Did it again, smashed a big tall can, hit some lines. And I had a cousin who picked me up ready to go to the rehab to the airport, and he did. And this was on 7/27/21. We get to the airport. It's about 8 a.m. now, and I take off. And you know, on that plane, a lot of thoughts go in my mind, like, who am I going to be? This is who I've been all my life. What am I going to be? I remember telling my wife, it's crazy how the disease justifies itself. You know, babe, I'll stop everything, but as long as I keep smoking weed, because weed's my thing. Like, and she was just, sure. Just make sure you take care of yourself. Didn't know the path I was going to take at all at this point. But anyways, I get picked up from a member there at Casa Palmera. He picks me up and takes me back to the house. Beautiful place in Del Mar. It was a blessing. We get there, and I remember they were saying, what do you need? 2 things I needed was I wanted food and sleep. That's all I wanted. Give him my phone and disconnect from life, 30 days from the phone anyway. And they gave it to me. Staff, everybody there was so amazing. I'm grateful for them. I stay in touch with them to this day. I got settled in. They gave me some meds, and they said, hit the room. You know, there's a room, sleep. I went through in there, and it was about, now at this time, it was about noon. I wake up at 6 p.m., and it was real. I woke up looking at a clock. Again, tears. I'm soft when it comes to this tears, but I started crying. And it hit me that I'm not going to be able to be with my family for a while. And that was hard because I was always with my daughters. You said it. I've been with my daughters forever, you know, and not being with them even. And it hit me like a ton of bricks. And I went out to like the main station. I was like, is there any way I could call my family? I was supposed to be on a blackout period. You can't call nobody. But there was this wonderful woman, a counselor at Casa Palmera. Her name was Genevieve. And She said, honey, come here, go ahead, call your family. And I was grateful for that because it gave me the strength for that day to get through. My family, for them to know, it brought them peace knowing I was somewhere away from everything I've been doing. And I was able to focus on what I had to focus on. And just knowing that they were going to be okay helped me. Day one, that was day one. Day two rolls around. I'm doing, living this life of clean and sober, right? So trying to adjust, trying to make having my own appetites and get my own body to do what it's supposed to do, heal, if you will. And I was doing it. And it was crazy. While I was there, it's like being reborn. I don't know, that's why I felt like I was reborn. Up to this point, I felt like I was worthless. I might as well have been gone. And people there in rehab reminded me, you have a purpose. They told me things I never thought of myself. And that meant everything to me. That gave me a whole new power in itself. And it was cool. They have this thing called the Casa Commissioner. You're basically the voice for the people. I'm only like a week in, and they voted me in this position.
That checks out.
Thanks, brother. It was a fun thing. I got to go around, ask people what they wanted, how we could make this experience better for ourselves. It was a good time. And because every week we had a Monday where it's like we all team meet up and we vote these things in and out. So it was really fun to do that. I got to do that for people. And in the meantime here, I grew some great relationships with them. I made because I remember what it felt like at this point and still into it, to be alone. It sucked to be in a whole new territory. So my biggest thing was I want everybody to feel included and felt welcome. So I made a personal handshake with every single person there. There's probably about 40 people. Every person individually had a handshake with me. And that was amazing. It was a good connection. And so we did that. We had this connection, and I made really great relationships with their people. They were my brothers and sisters there, and I stayed in touch with some of them. Some of them chose to go back out. But I just, for me, I'm always here for them. No matter what, I'll be there for them.
And Ralph, this was your first time in treatment?
This is my first time in treatment. This is my first time with all this lifestyle, this new thing. From the guy that thought those guys are weak-minded, oh, behold, I'm the guy. And it's not about weak-minded. It's about the disease. That's what it is. But my first time in treatment. And I did take it serious, every part of it. Everything they asked of me or told me to do, I did it because I had the gift of desperation. The gift of desperation was the key for me to even get well. Whatever it took to get me out of that lifestyle, I needed it. So they said, hey, wipe toilets, I was willing. But they didn't tell me to do that. But I was willing to do whatever it took. I got to be in service quick. I was cleaning people's shoes and cutting hair. That was pretty cool to do. So I just did everything I asked, and I did that. I did my days there, and every night I got to have a conversation, a Zoom call with my daughters and my wife, check in. What's scary, though? Uncertainty. Not knowing what's going to happen when you get out. And I wasn't sure me and my wife's relationship was still going to be there. I know she did this for me, but how much can she go through to keep pushing forward with me? She's a real one, I got to say. She's a real one. She stood by my side, but I wasn't sure. And I remember a buddy of mine, his name's Adrian there. He said, because I had a bad night off the phone with her. I said, man, F this, I'm done here. He said, Ralph, slow down, sit down, talk to me. And he's like, you're in a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, bro. I'm like, take advantage of it, dude. And it kind of clicked for me there. Like, you're right, I've never been able just to focus on myself and what I really need to do for my life.
That's important, too. One of the pillars to recovery is getting to know thyself. Really just taking that time to get to know yourself. Yeah. And you said earlier that, which really resonated with me. And it's something that I look for when talking to a person. It lets me know about their recovery. That what appears to be a bad thing at the moment, when you get past it, you can look back at it and see the blessing that it actually was, and be grateful for these things that happen, Yeah. It takes recovery to get to that point.
It really does.
To where, those painful situations, you can actually see the blessings in them.
I like to say almost the scales drop from my eyes to see that. And it's really true.
And that's exactly what I said in my podcast, that, the scales started dropping from my eyes. And I was like, oh, shit, I'm tripping. I'm doing this to myself.
Right.
I am tripping. I am not the man I thought I was. I'm not who I thought I was. I'm what I do. And I'm doing some nonsense. So Ralph, after you left Casa Palmera, you came here to Touchstone?
Yes, I did.
Now tell me how it ended up, how your experience was at Touchstone, and how now you work for Touchstone.
That is correct. God's working, right? So I'll speed up real quick. About day 29 over there at Casa, they're getting discharge ready. They said, you can't leave here without a sponsor. And these guys bent over backwards to get a phone list from Fresno guys. And there's a bunch of names on the top was red. I'm like automatically thinking, red, of course, Bulldog, Fresno, right? Opposite, total opposite. But I called him. He says, where are you at right now? I said, San Diego. He said, well, you call me when you're in Fresno. Straight up, old time Red. Hey, dude, I love it. Yeah. Shout out Red. Love you, Red, man. I thank you for everything. Still my sponsor to this day. Still call each other, stuff like that. It's good. But so we're on discharge. I'm in the room with the discharge guy, and he's looking at places, and we see My Time. I don't know anything about My Time. I don't know nothing about Touchstone. I don't know anything about any of these titles yet. I don't know. I'm learning there's a rehab. He's like, well, this place worked. And I just based off the streets. And it was like around Blackstone. And automatically for me, Blackstone was a hot spot. Like, that's where I sold dope. That's where I did dope. That's where I did dirt. And I didn't want to put myself in that position out the gate. So I was like, no, is there anywhere else? And it said Touchstone Recovery Center in a baby blue, powder blue lettering. I was like, I like this. And he told me where it was. And funny, it's right by my church. My church is Cross City Church. And it's in the area. And I like that. I love that area. I always loved the area. It's a nice area. So I'm like, let's do that. So he calls Nolan. Now I know who he talked to. He calls Nolan. He's like, got this person who's gonna be discharged, coming to your IOP there, because I did my PHP in San Diego. He'll do the outpatient. He'll be come down. He'll do the outpatient at Touchstone. And he was like, yeah, have him come in. So they got me all set up. His name is Kevin. Got a great dude. I keep in touch with him too, from Casa San Diego. He got me set up, and he sent the information to my wife. And so I know myself, and I know my disease. To thine own self be true. I knew that if I gave some little gaps, centimeters of some space from recovery to regular, I ain't going back into this. So what I did was I flew in at 8 in the morning. I know my wife picked me up, and I think it wasn't an hour later, I was driving to Touchstone to enroll myself. I didn't waste no time because it was scary.
No, you didn't. I think I remember the day you came, but no, you didn't. You came right in.
I did.
On fire too.
I did. I had to, brother. I really had to. Jumped in. I remember meeting Nolan. Give me the rundown. It was at the little older location, which I love still to this day. I got to meet Jay. He came in on a bicycle. I'm like, what we getting into today? What are we gonna be doing? Met him. He gave me the rundown of how the group's gonna go, times this and this, and who the counselors are. And when I was there, what I seen was what I wanted. Just people with some relationships, truly happy and filled with joy. The term happy, joyous, and free. I seen it. But the biggest thing was giving back to people who may be lost, but willing to be found, and the ones that were willing to help them out. And that was amazing to me. I'm like, this is amazing. This lifestyle is amazing, But I gotta work on myself right now. So I got my dates planned out. We go back home, and it was cool because I got a video of this, but my wife is gonna pick up my girls from school. I hid under their blankets, right? Under the blankets. And they come home, and I got it on recording, but they come home into the door, and they're talking to mom, not even looking at the bed. I'm already recording in the bed. And, I have this video, but it's amazing. They put down, and it's my youngest daughter, Soraya. She's still talking to mom through the hallway, and my other daughter, Leilani, puts her bag down. She just glances at the bed and turns around and does a double take. Right there. Instant tears. Dad. They come right up to me, man. Man, happy tears, bro. Happy tears. We give each other hugs, hold each other, and we're crying all to each other. And I promise I'm gonna say, girls, I'll never do this to you guys again. I can't. And we had a moment, and that was an amazing moment. And that was, I know, from my higher power, brother, because there's nothing I could have said or done to fix anything in that time. There's nothing. But they were just happy to see Dad's home, and he's well again, or he's getting well. And I have that video saved to this day, and I think I watch it weekly to remind me, one selfish decision. I'm giving stuff away. I ain't losing nothing. I ain't losing, misplace it. I'm choosing this over this. I'm choosing this lifestyle over my beautiful family.
This is so true.
And I'm not going to choose that. I have a decision today, and I have a choice, and I have a sound mind to make that choice. And so, lo and behold, I started hitting Touchstone, going to Touchstone Recovery Center, 9 a.m., Monday through Friday. I think Wednesday's off or something, right? Mm-hmm. IOP, yeah. Doing it up. And as I was always all in. Jay was my counselor. I love you, Jay. We would go in, and then right after, we'd get out at 12. Right after, I'd fly straight to an AA meeting. Mm-hmm. Yes, my DOC is cocaine. I was drinking and smoking weed. But again, I didn't want to find no reason to be like, I can't do that. I just needed to jump in something. And so I jumped all in AA. And and I remember there was a family day, right? Family day, bring my wife, and I meet Dr. Battle. Dr. Battle, that woman is a woman of God and a tough woman. But she's talking to us, and Ralph, what are you gonna do today after IOP? Oh, Dr. Battle, I got my job. I got my job personal training, so I got some people coming over on my training. She goes, so that's more important than recovery? I said, no, it's not. I'm so focused. I'm coming here, but I'm gonna work. She said, but meetings, you're not doing meetings? I said, well, no, I'm going to some, and she goes, no, that's not good enough, Ralph. Straight up, no. You're doing a 90 for 90. And for me, I love taking challenges on. I'm a challenge guy because I was always the counted out guy, like he ain't going to. So when somebody challenges me, I'm like, let me do this. I want to do this. She said, do a 90 for 90. That's 90 days and 90 meetings. 90 meetings in 90 days. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. And I remember doing it, 90 meetings in 90 days. But crazy thing happened in that meantime, right? So I would say maybe meeting 60. I love this place. I love these people. I love the fellowship. I love what's going on here and the service to each other. How do you start a meeting? I want to know how you can start a meeting. How do you do this? Like come to a business meeting on a Friday, 5:30 p.m. Boom, and propose it. And at this point, I got to know a lot of guys from AA because my sponsor would have breakfast with them. We'd go to a lot of meetings, and really the old timers. They took me in, and I got in the middle of this pack. So I'm at this business meeting, and so I asked the question of new business, how do you start one? And they told me get the format, this and that. I'm only about 4 months sober at this time. You have to have at least 6 months sobriety.
Had you graduated Touchstone already?
I was still at Touchstone.
You were still with
at Touchstone. Yeah, I was still with them. And so they told me how to do. So the next month, business meeting came up. I brought the format and everything. And they're like, somebody said something. We have to have 6 months sobriety. And this good old dude named Power Dan, Phil the Power. I love this guy. He vouched for me. He said, I know his sponsor. He has a sponsor. He's working the steps. And I vouched for Ralph. And this is when I started Athletes in Recovery. And I titled it Athletes in Recovery because of the realm I came from, right? I just know there's a lot of that lifestyle that can't be put away, either from injury, again, partying. You just can't. And when you leave that sport, you're still doing it. And I know as for myself, when I came out, I was looking for something tailored to that. But unknowingly, it's all the same, but I didn't know this at the time. So I named it Athletes in Recovery. And it's going to this day, but I changed the title. Because people were showing up. When
did you change the title?
I'll explain to you why I changed the title. So people were showing up, but I kept hearing this thing is, well, I'm not an athlete. Mm-hmm. And that's the opposite of what I'm about. I'm not about exclusion.
Yeah,
I'm all about inclusion.
Yours should be, you are inclusive.
Right.
Yeah, that's just your nature.
Yeah, I love being part of something and people being part of it. Mm-hmm. So I was like, I'm going to change the name. I'm going to change the name because you don't have to be. And I said, at the end of the day, y'all athletes because you're surviving life. We surviving out here. But, I wanted people to come. So I went in a business meeting and changed the title to Life After. Mm-hmm. Life After meaning whatever we came from, whatever it may be, right? So I changed. It was more all-inclusive. And so I changed. And I have the meeting to this day. I'm on my fourth term of secretary. Thank you. Thank you. It's by the grace of God, man. There's this movie called When Love Isn't Enough. It's about Bill W. and his wife. And it's after he gets clean and sober and he's going to the alleys and preaching to them, right? And what she said was, it hits me, and this is what it was. He comes back to the car. He's like, these drunks won't listen to me. There's no reason. And she says, but it's keeping you sober.
That's real.
Right. And it hit me. This is what it is for me.
Yeah, that's real.
It's keeping me sober.
Yeah, that's real.
If worst case scenario, if it ain't for them, it's keeping me in my line. And I do know, again, when I came out, I got to be all in. I heard this term from my old trainer, either getting better or getting worse, but you never stay the same. Same thing is with anything in life, intentionality. If I'm not going towards it, I ain't sitting where I'm at. I'm going away from it. So recovery, if I'm not intentful with recovery, I'm going to my relapse. Unknowingly, I'm going to my relapse. And so I just know I'm going to dive all in. So I did the meeting thing. I got my sponsor and did, jumped in the steps. So that's what we've been doing that. And so at this time, I'm at Touchstone doing my thing, and I'm not going to lie, I love Touchstone. I loved it so much. I'm like, can we extend my little insurance real quick? You. I'm like, can we do this? And in that meantime, I started like a group chat with the clients, with each other. We try to meet up at meetings. We just try to have a real fellowship, family fellowship.
You were you're a natural leader, and you get everybody involved. You're very inclusive. So when you came to Touchstone, just your energy your vibe, you could anyone looking at you could tell that you were serious, that you were going after it 100%. And yeah, you changed some things here forever by your presence being.
Means a lot, Lewis. Thank you, brother. I gotta admit, I met Jay Nolan, sweet. I seen Lewis in the back. I was intimidated as shit. So y'all know, he was quiet, reserved, calm, cool as hell, pulling up in his Chrysler 300. I'm like, that's the dude. Like, okay. And I met Yannick. I love Yannick. Shout out Yannick too, man. I love her. And I always would come around talking to people. I always just wanted to get input from everybody because I'm in desperate search. I'm in desperation mode. What can help me? Let me know. And I could vent to and I could talk to. And I did that with everybody, Jay and everybody. So yeah, I loved touching everybody at it, right? I loved everybody there. And as we grew, more people came in, met more people. And my time came and I was graduating Touchstone. And it was brought up to me, hey, why would you like to work out here? Work here sometime, training. I was like, that'd be a cool idea. That'd be awesome. But these are words. So I'm like, I'm not sure. I'm just gonna keep rocking and rolling. I'm doing my thing. And I love what AA talks about. It's attraction rather than promotion. And I believe in that. When you're just doing your thing,
that's it.
Somebody will notice, then they will be brought up. Kind of talked about this podcast, right? We ain't here by no accident. For sure, one thing is God ordained, and we got here from just our experiences, and I believe that. So if somebody was going to ask me for that position, I'd be willing. But until then, I'll be here. And Nolan calls me up, and he's like, hey, how would you like to work for us? We'll get you working, kind of interning for you. Look, try it out a little bit, see how you like it. We're gonna start a PHP group. This is when you guys started getting the PHP going, and the plans for it. And I remember you called me and Lewis, Ralph, sit on my desk, click on everything you want for the gym. I was all right, I know what to do. Clicking, searching, clicking. But man, I'm so grateful. Experiences, I'm grateful for you, brother. Thank you. So to help, for one thing, believing in me. Because everybody, and my disease, I lost all that. People lost all that. So to have somebody start believing me again in this recovery mode was everything to me. And realistically, I'm glad because that was like the dross melted away on this gold. I get to get all that crap's melted. I get the real. This is the real. People see me right now. This is probably the real. Mm-hmm. And so I did. And I remember we started out maybe with 3 or 4 people. Alan, shout out Alan. I ain't forget Alan. Love you too, Alan. He was my supervisor and he let me know the rundown. We're gonna give orientation. It's probably 3 or 4 people. And I remember there's a few of them. I give them a rundown what's going to be doing, what we're going to be doing for PHP. It's going to be really about health and nutrition and that part of it because I do believe, it's mind, body, spirit. I said this before, they go together. And I do believe you want to make recovery fun because it's hard work. It's hard work can take a toll. So don't forget to make it fun. How do you make it fun? Well, I lost my passions. We lose these passions as we're in our disease. You forget what we love to do. And when we get it back, it's like it's on fire. And so it seems let's get them maybe working them out, moving around a little bit, exercising, and we can maybe activity sports. Mm-hmm. Thanks for Nolan. He was willing to do it. He's like, it's yours, it's your baby. Do what you want. We trust you. And hearing that word that's everything to me. Hearing that trust word, like man. Mm-hmm. And so and he did, and I was able to slowly but surely get the clients going in this health program for PHP of Touchstone. And it's grown tremendously. We went from 3 to 4 to I think we rocking with 20, 30 now. Mm. And it's amazing. I get to come to Touchstone and, I was given the opportunity to be with Touchstone and work with the clients. And that's everything to me too. I love being in recovery.
Me too, bro.
To be able to give back in a place where I thought I would be hopeless or helpless. Yeah. To be in service to others. It's everything to me. Yeah. And not because of, I have no book smarts with this. I got the streets reconnaissance. I was out there doing it, so I know what it's like. And so if I can relate in any way to anybody, and this is where I believe everybody's story means something to somebody. Somebody's in touch somewhere. Say you have the most worst scenario and your thing is horrible, that's going to touch somebody that's probably in the worst places.
Absolutely. And
so I believe this is very unique in its own way. It's crazy because I didn't think it would be as big as it was, 20, 30, 40, right? That responsibility. But it's amazing now because I come here and these people kind of light up when they see, we go and do something. We go to Woodward Park, we take walks. We play ultimate Frisbee. We do the ultimate Frisbee thing. And we do work out. I bring some weights some days. I'll bring some like little cones where we're doing like some agility and some conditioning type thing. It's not the favorite, but I believe it's not the favorite. But they do it, they're willing. And when I see people willing, I always tell them thank you individually for your willingness.
I'm gonna be willing one day, Ralph.
You just hey, you know what? Hey, Yannick also. I got to hold on to that. She said too.
I'm gonna be willing one day, Ralph. This ain't no day soon, man. So stop jamming me up every time you see me.
Jamming you up.
Yeah, trying to
Hey,
get
Louis,
me
gonna join us today?
Yeah.
All right, good seeing you, brother.
No.
Nope.
I'm
But yeah,
gonna be willing one day, Ralph. Okay.
Your support's amazing, brother. I'm so grateful for it. But
We grateful for you too, bro.
Thank
You've been. It's like you were always here, or always meant to be here. You know, this is my purpose, bro. I don't know if it's my purpose forever, but I know that this is where I'm supposed to be. I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing today, and it just feels great. You know, I'm not walking around blowing bubbles and whistling every day, right?
yeah.
Some days are still tough,
But we need that.
but I feel purpose, and it's a life that I want to be present for. You know, the way that the clients look at me, the way my kids look at me today, I can't even put it into words, but I don't want to lose it.
Right.
And I'm aware that I'm a banana peel away. Have to take deliberate, intentional actions. All of my decisions need to be a reflection of my goals, of my priorities, my morals. And I dogmatically do that. Regardless of how I'm feeling, I try to not let it turn into action, but that my actions be a reflection of my goals, of my morals. Sorry to kids. F how I'm feeling.
You're good, bro.
Because making a decision based on feelings, you might pay for that for the rest of your life.
Absolutely.
It has been proven that our ability to make good decisions in an emotional state is diminished. So yeah, make decisions, deliberate, intentional decisions. And I like how you were talking about, you know, using is throwing all or giving it away, not losing it, but giving it away. You absolutely right. It's the real cost of our addiction, and to ignore that real cost is travesty. Thank you, Ralph.
Thank you, Louis.
Before we go, I want to ask you one last question. What advice would you give to someone that is this their first time seeing our podcast? They may be struggling with addiction right now. They may or may not be considering coming into treatment.
Right.
What advice would you give?
I would say this. I'm going to tell you from my personal experience. It's scary when you have to look at yourself and see that you are an addict and alcoholic. It's a place that I didn't want to be in, because then my life that I thought I knew is gone. But as I said earlier, that worst tragic moment became the biggest blessing in my life. For anything to grow, it has to have some pain. Growth is going to be pain. It's going to be painful, but it's going to be the best thing. And I would say, you know, if anybody's still struggling out there, confide in one person and look for the help. And if not, that person will look for the help for them. Mm-hmm. There's loved ones that are all around them. I believe that. And as far as it could be the friend down the street, the mentor, whatever it may be, just reach out to one person and just say, I need help. Just admitting that our powerlessness, I don't know what to do, is going to be, it's going to build a golden road to a life they never thought they could have. But it's that first step into action. I like what it's called, into action. Just putting the feet where the mouth used to be, and just putting it there and trusting it will be okay. I got to say that over and over. It will be okay. The next right indicated thing will be the next best thing, which will bring, it's a blessing that will comes with it. It is a blessing. It's faith. I move in faith every day. It's opportunity and faith. So I would say with the person struggling, just reach out to that one person, and there will be help there for you. It's scary. I know it's scary. I was there, but I promise you will be happier than you ever been in your life. I heard this. You will be more amazed halfway through when you're going through this, what you get through this, and what you're getting from it and through it. It's amazing. It's an amazing place to be in. I like what you said, Louis. Purpose. That's everything. I don't know if it's. I want to say maybe mostly for men, have purpose is everything. That's everything. So somebody in that disease, that lifestyle, that drinking and using and smoking, they might have lost that. Just know this stuff is on the other side. Relationships, a purpose, their hope, hearing other people's experiences, they're going to bring a light to somebody else. But in that moment, you just got to say, I need help. That's it.
I believe in purpose. Like we all have a purpose. As I try to make life or make sense of life and why some people are here, other people's are there. I explain it by purpose. If you're watching this video, so there may be a man under a bridge tonight and he's drinking, using substances, and he's homeless and he's happy. There is no conflict of interest with him. There is no cognitive dissonance. He's happy with his life. He doesn't want to live somewhere. And because that's his purpose, it doesn't make me any better. It doesn't make you any better. None of us are better than him or vice versa. But maybe that's his purpose. But if you're watching this podcast, I know that addiction's not your purpose. Because if it was, you wouldn't be watching this podcast.
Right. Amen. Amen.
You wouldn't be thinking about treatment. Do you understand? You'd be blissful like I am in my purpose.
Right.
So if that was your purpose, it would be blissful. Right. There'd be no conflict. And I don't know, I don't even know you on the other side of that camera. But I know that if you're watching this, as sure as my name is Louis Lamar Edwards, you have a different purpose. But with purpose comes sacrifice. In order to grow into that purpose, to live that purpose, you got to be willing to sacrifice something or sacrifice your purpose.
I agree.
And be mediocre and just blown about by the wind. The choice is yours.
I agree.
Coming into treatment is a cushioned bottom. They say you have to hit a bottom before you change. Treatment is a cushioned bottom. I didn't go through the cushioned bottom route. I hit the concrete bottom. You know, and some of us never make it back from that concrete bottom. Institutions, prisons, hospitals. You know, treatment is a cushioned bottom. I wish I would have went to treatment instead of to the California Department of Corrections for 20 plus years. So if you out there and you thinking about it, they say that the phone weighs 1,000 pounds, right? Is that what they say?
Yep, 1,000.
I can attest to that because I couldn't pick that
Couldn't pick up no phone. Absolutely not.
I can attest to that.
As bad as the boys, I'm hiding from it.
Yeah.
I ain't on it.
I can attest to that. It weighs 1,000 pounds. Thank you for joining us today for our podcast called Action. I'm covering for Nolan. Ralph, such a blessing having you as a coworker and just having you in my life, man.
Thank you, Louis.
I appreciate you.
Thank you, Louis.
We appreciate you here at Touchstone. Well, you one of us now. So. Thanks for joining us today, and thank you everybody online or wherever you're watching. We appreciate you. This will probably be my first. This is my first. It'll probably be my last podcast.
Nah, it ain't your last, that's for sure.
Nolan should be back next week. Thank you and have a blessed day.